Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're glad you're with us today. It's October 19th, 2021. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, or if you want to put your information in just to network, please open up the Zoom chat window and be glad to put your questions in there. We are monitoring the feed. For those people watching on Facebook right now, if you have any questions, please just put them into the comment field. Or I am monitoring that feed and we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org. Trying to help people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in their job search. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help people around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007. And I'll tell you about our upcoming program that we have this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIC crew. This is a great way to practice your interviewing skills. You spend a lot of time on your resume, a lot of time on LinkedIn, a lot of time networking. How much time do you practice your interview skills? If you'd like to have information on that, please reach out to me and I'll be glad to tell you how you can have a free interview with a panel discussion. Well, for LinkedIn Tuesdays, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They're career consultants, they're business owners, they're executive search consultants. They're just a full gamut. They all look at LinkedIn from a little bit different point of view. Today, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's going to talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. So Ruth, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. As Jeff said, we'll be talking about LinkedIn today, and our goal is going to be to make sure that you're aware of how recruiters are using LinkedIn in order to find people and how you need to maximize certain values in LinkedIn so that it's more likely that recruiters will find you and contact you for those interviews. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We'll be talking about the LinkedIn goals. We'll talk about what recruiters look at when they're doing a search and how that affects you. We'll talk about how you're going to be able to maximize the value of your titles and the skills that you have in your profile. There will be other sections that you can add to your LinkedIn profile that are going to add value also. And we'll also talk about the importance of networking on LinkedIn so that recruiters are able to see your interest in their company. Why are we interested in LinkedIn? Because recruiters more and more are gravitating toward LinkedIn as the way to find people to bring into their company. The company website is about half of all of the job offers that are made, and that's no surprise. People go to the company website, take a look at the career page, use the filters to sort through and find the type of role they're looking for, and they apply for the job. So a lot of traffic going into the company website. No surprise that 48% of the jobs are actually from that source. Internal referrals, though, huge way of getting the attention of a recruiter, because most of the time, if an employee does recommend a friend, an old coworker for a position, there will be a real live recruiter is going to take a look and assess that person's value. And if need be, just give a courtesy interview to that person. Recruiters in this case are headhunters, people who are outside the company who have been asked to help bring people in. Fairly small percent are being found that way, but if you've got a job that is a technical job that is difficult for an inside recruiter to assess your skills, a lot of times a recruiter is going to help. But take a look at this. LinkedIn accounts for 1/3 of all job offers that a company is going to make. And because of this, we need to put more attention on our LinkedIn profile. So you've got two goals on LinkedIn. The first one you're probably already comfortable with. Set up your LinkedIn profile for the person who is reviewing it and reading it. So if a recruiter or a hiring manager happens to be looking at your profile, you want it to be laid out so it can be read easily, that the key features will pop up to the eye as quickly as possible. You'll have your headshot, a good background, possibly some personal information depending on the type of role you've got. But your other goal is to optimize your profile so that when a recruiter is using LinkedIn in order to search for a specific title, specific skills, they'll be able to find you and you'll come up high on their search. Now, the reason we've got these two goals is because sometimes there's a conflict as to which one you need to be following. You may hear that in goal number 1, you don't need to be an all-star. An all-star means that you filled in 7 critical areas of your LinkedIn profile to LinkedIn satisfaction. And that will give you an all-star rating on your profile. A lot of people are saying that you really don't need that because when a recruiter or a hiring manager is looking at your profile, they probably don't care if you are an all-star. If you're an intermediate, you may have absolutely the right information that's needed. However, if you're going to optimize your profile so that you can be found in a search, then you do need to be an all-star because all-stars are ranked above people who are not all-stars if they have the same set of skills. So knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it is an important part of LinkedIn. And that's why we're talking about how the search engine really works in today's discussion. So let's take a look and see what recruiters are using the LinkedIn Recruiter software. And the first thing to recognize is that LinkedIn gives your profile a score every day. And the score is based on how much content you have, how much activity you have, how many times you're seeing other people's profiles, how many connections you're making, how active you are on the home page. There are a lot of factors that go into that. In fact, everything you do on LinkedIn has a point value. The problem with this concept, though, is that LinkedIn will not let you know what your score is, nor will it tell you how to increase your score. We can only take some fairly intelligent guesses as to what point values are associated with different activities. But know that LinkedIn is giving you a score based on content and activity. And when a recruiter is doing a search, in this case, looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area, and the skills they're looking for are business strategy and analytics. There are other skills that this recruiter could be looking for, but at this point, they've decided that they just want to look for these 2 skills for a project manager. What comes up? 42,798 people in the greater Chicago area who match the basics of this search. So the recruiters are going to be look at different filters that LinkedIn has created for them. And one of them is this open to new opportunities. If you indicate that you are open to a new job, recruiters are more interested in you because now they know that there's a reason to contact you. If you are happy at your job and there's nothing that could get you out of that job, the recruiter isn't going to want to waste their time contacting you. So knowing that you're open to discussion on a new job makes you more valuable to them. Recruiters in this case also want to know if you've got a company connection. And that means that you are connected to somebody as a first degree within that company. Easy enough to do. You can find people within the company, send a connect request, but recruiters truly feel that that shows that you have an interest in their company and that you are trying to do more research into the product, the brands, the culture by having company connections. They're also looking, in this case, for people who are engaged in that company's talent brand. That means that you are following the company on your interest area. Go to the company's site on LinkedIn, and there will be a follow button. And when you click the follow button, it adds the company to your interest area, and you receive more information on your homepage dealing with new products, employee engagement activities, the things that make a company interesting to you. So following the company on your LinkedIn page indicates to the recruiter that you've got a very strong interest in hearing more about the company, which is good for them. Now notice that out of nearly 43,000 people who came up in this search, we've got people who came up in the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 positions. LinkedIn does not do anything randomly. There's a reason that LinkedIn picked these three people out of the 42,798 people that were available to them to show to the recruiter first. In this case, this person does have the right title, has a previous title that has the same type of duties, has company connections, is a company follower, and is open to new opportunities. So the 3 filters that were set up by this recruiter, these people have. There's probably more information about how complete their profile is, maybe how many people within the company they're connected with. All of that goes together into a package for each person as to how high up they should come in the search. Now notice that the title that these people have are generally the ones that LinkedIn has set up as their default. Here's my title at here's my company. LinkedIn has recently added more information and more size to these areas so that you can put in a lot more information. So when a recruiter is scrolling down through 100 people, your information in the headline area is going to pop out a little bit more at them, depending on what type of information you put in there. So we'll cover that in just a minute. Well, let's take a look at another search that somebody has done. And this person is just looking for accountants, has no other search filters, so has come up with over 4 million candidates. The filters that this recruiter has put in, certainly open to new opportunities and having company connections, are going to be important, just as they were for the previous recruiter. But this recruiter is looking for people who are more likely to respond. Here's another thing that LinkedIn calculates about you that you can't see. If a recruiter contacts you on LinkedIn through the messaging tab on your LinkedIn profile and says, I have a job for you, looks like it's a good fit for your skills, let me know if you would like to set up an appointment. Here's some things that we're looking for. If you ignore those requests, then you have a low likely to respond score. If you always reply to the recruiter and say either, yes, I'm interested, or no, that's really not the direction I want my career to go, I'm looking more in this field, these skills, being able to respond, even if it's a no, is going to increase your likely to respond score. Now, that doesn't mean on that message tab that you have to respond to everybody who contacts you, because a lot of people who contact you are simply people trying to sell you something. You don't need to respond to them at all. But if it's a recruiter who sends you a request, that is going to be counting in your likely to respond. So here's another thing. There are 2 things within these searches that you can't see. One is, what is your score for your profile in general? But the other is, do you have a high likely to respond? So what the search engine is truly looking for is, the first and foremost, is that there's a mutual interest. There's some kind of connection between the recruiter and the person who comes up in this list. And things that are associated with that. You've got a high likely to respond rate if you're connected to employees in the company. if you're following the company on LinkedIn so that the company is in your interest area, if you filled out your open to work area, and if you have applied for that company before. All of those things are going to be the first consideration because recruiters don't want to waste their time on people who aren't interested in their company and their jobs. The second thing to be considered is the relevance to the job that is being searched by the recruiter. And this is where the recruiter is going to be taking a closer look to the title, the key skills, and the skill quizzes that might be available for this person or might be important to the recruiter. Also of importance, any activity you have on LinkedIn. Are you talking to people on the homepage? Are you connecting to people who have similar jobs to you, are in similar industries, are in companies that might be of interest to you? Having more candidate activity is going to raise your score. And of course, the recruiter past preferences, if there are some things the recruiter has indicated to LinkedIn that tend to be part of their searches, LinkedIn is going to take that into consideration also. Questions on this part? Because there's a lot here.
Nothing yet.
Okay. So let's take a look at the title that you have in your profile. Because when you notice that on the job search results, the people normally had their title at their company. But LinkedIn has added more information and now allows you to have 220 characters in this title field, this headline field. So use titles that LinkedIn has standardized because recruiters will normally use a LinkedIn standardized title when they're doing a job search. That gives them a broader group of candidates because it'll search for the whole job family, not just for one title. And some companies get pretty creative about what their job titles are within their company. And LinkedIn doesn't know quite how to deal with that type of title when they're trying to find other people with those same skills. So use the titles that LinkedIn has standardized wherever possible. And add multiple titles in your headline area and your open to work. You probably noticed that open to work allows you to have up to 5 different titles. That does help to add all 5 if you have that many types of roles that you're looking for, because that could give you an indication of what role within the company you have, how senior a level you have, what department you're in. So in your headline area, repeat some of the titles and that you may have put down in the open to work. But in your experience section, you should also add additional titles to what your company's title was. So generally, you're going to have in your experience section the title that the company gave you, but you can have other titles after that if you feel that you need to translate that title into something that's more appropriate for a recruiter or a hiring manager to see. So once again, you have a lot of room in the title line. Put in whatever information you think is going to be important for a recruiter so they understand what you did in that company. So in the headline area, the area right underneath of your name, it used to be that we wanted you to put in title, 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 because we knew that the exact title was a key indicator of a strong match and would bring you to the attention of the recruiters faster. Well, now that LinkedIn has expanded this area to 220 characters, we see that we're being rewarded for having skills in this section too. So being able to put in more information about what value you bring, about what skills you have, something that indicates more when the recruiter is taking a look at that whole line of people who have come up as candidates for the job search they're doing. Having something that explains what they do, how they do it, is going to bring more value to your profile and make you more noticeable to a recruiter. And if you're interested in how to generate a good headline, quite often you want to start with an adjective, especially if you're award-winning, if you have a certification, if you have something that needs to be describing you more precisely. So use our adjective that's going to get them started on the right track. Then add a couple titles. You can add as many titles as you want. Generally 4 or 5 is enough in order to get a recruiter interested in you. But then talk about what value you bring. So being able to put in experienced project manager, pipe, program manager, specializing in, able to, focused on, with skills in. Something that gives a recruiter more of an idea of who you are just by looking at that headline, because that's about all they've got to go on when they're doing a job search on the LinkedIn recruiter software. So in this example, dynamic program manager, driving brand awareness through integrated marketing is a lot stronger headline than just program manager. So the broader your title is, the more precisely you can define it in the headline area, so that when the recruiter does contact you, they know a little bit closer what it is you do and how you do it. So let's talk about your skills, because you notice that recruiters are searching for title and for skills. And the skills that are most looked for in the last year are creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. Those should be in your profile somewhere. They don't necessarily need to be in your headline, but you should probably have them in the About section. You might want to put them in your skills and endorsement area. So being able to add these in, if these are the skills that companies are looking for, put them in. If you're looking for a remote job, then recruiters are going to be looking for the self-management skills that mean that you are good when you're working from home. So adding in active learning, resilience, stress tolerance, and self-motivation are skills that recruiters want to see if they're looking for somebody who is going to need to work from home, at least for some period of time. Now, in that skill and endorsement area, LinkedIn allows you to have 50 skills. You probably have some skills in there anyway, and they could be some skills that were used ages ago in a previous job, in a job you never want to do again. So being able to go out and take a close look at the skills that you do have in the skill and endorsement area to be assured that you've got the ones that indicate that you're ready for the jobs that you're applying for is going to be important. Don't put in that you're good at Fortran if you never want to program in Fortran again. The skills themselves should be both technical and soft skills. The technical skills are normally the easiest ones to put in because you know what languages, what programs, what software you have been using. So putting those in is fairly simple, but also describe yourself as to how you do your job. So putting in a skill in documentation, communication, building relationships, all of those are going to be important because not only do the recruiters want to know that you can do the job technically, they want to know that you'll fit into their culture and be an easy person to work with. Now, you may notice also that there are 3 skills that can be highlighted at the top of the skill and endorsement area. Make sure those are the 3 skills that are most important for your next role. If you're looking for a highly technical job, then all 3 of these may be technical, but the higher you are in an organization, the more the soft skills are going to be needed. So maybe you need skills in strategy instead of simply the technical items. So use those 3 skills to really highlight the 3 most important skills for your next job. We also recommend that you add 1 unusual skill, some hobby, something you're interested in. When a recruiter is looking for a specific title, they're expecting to see the same basic skills all through the About section, the Experience section, the Skills and Endorsement section. This is your opportunity to throw in a skill that is unusual. Playing golf, mountain climbing, international travel, quilting, cooking. Something that's going to be just enough different that the recruiter will say, ah, here's somebody who knows how to balance their life a little bit more. You'll be the one who is a ping pong champion instead of just one more person with about the same set of skills. So one of them is enough. You may notice that LinkedIn puts all of your skills into different categories. You cannot change a skill from one category to another. One of the problems that LinkedIn has right now is that they're not keeping up real well with the names of some of the technical aspects. You can't change that. But if you do have a lot of skills in one of these categories, you might want to put them in alphabetical order so that they're easier to read. And if a recruiter is looking for a specific skill, they'll be able to find it a little bit easier. So we'll show how that's done too. Now, LinkedIn has added skill quizzes. And it used to be that recruiters would rely on the number of endorsements somebody had in order to indicate how strongly they possessed that skill. What LinkedIn found and what everybody else found is that that really was not a strong indication of how strong the skill was. So they've created skills for those areas that seem to have a quiz capability. So they've got skill tests in 3 different areas. They've got the technical skills, they've got business skills, and they've got design skills. So there will be a test associated with each one of these. And what LinkedIn is telling us is that if you pass this skill quiz, then you are 30% more likely to be hired for a role that requires that skill. So good thing to be able to do. Take the test, pass it. The skill itself, 15 to 20 multiple choice questions. It is a time test. You do need to do it all in one session, and you need a 70% or better in order to pass. If you do get a 70% or better, then LinkedIn can add that into your skill and technology area. Looks like a clipboard with a check mark on it, but if you scroll over it, it'll say that you passed a LinkedIn assessment. It is valid for 12 months, and after that, it disappears and you have to take the test again. The assumption is that these different programs are changing at all times, and they want to make sure that you're up to speed on all of the different upgrades and changes that have been made. Now, if you don't pass the test, if you don't get a 70% or better, then you can retake the test, but only after 3 months have gone by. Then you can retake it. If you do not pass it for a second time, then that test is no longer available to you. Now let's talk about some of the sections that we've got, but make sure that people know what an all-star is, because we are recommending that you be an all-star. You need to have a current position, a location. LinkedIn will assign you an industry based on what your company or what your job title was within that. You need to have that summary, which is the about section. In your skills and endorsement area, you need to have at least 5 skills. You need to have something in education, and you need to have a headshot. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can take a look a little bit more closely at the types of things that you're going to be looking at on your profile. So headline area, being able to put in a little bit more about what you do, how you do it. So in my case, I've got 2 different titles. I've got more titles in my open to work area, but I also indicate what I'm specializing in, what types of things I do as a career coach or a consultant. The dashboard area is going to tell you how well you're doing based on how many people are looking at your profile. The more active you are, the more people are going to be looking at your profile, and the more search appearances you're going to come up with. So keep an eye on your dashboard as you increase your activity, as you increase the amount of material you have in your about section. You should see those numbers coming up too. In your About section, make sure that you've got your paragraphs short. No paragraph should be longer than 4 lines deep, because after that, it becomes a wall of words and it's hard for anybody to read. The eye goes to the shortest paragraphs, to bulleted items, to things that are easy and quick to read. So use that in your About section. Remember, this is the largest section of LinkedIn. You've got 2,600 characters, so you've got a lot of room here. You can also use it to put in a bunch of keywords. They should be repeated up above so that you're showing how you're using those skills, but put in the keywords that are associated with the type of role you're looking for in the future that you have already. And at some point, make sure you let them know how you can be contacted outside of LinkedIn, because recruiters will want to be talking to you via your personal email rather than trying to have a conversation via LinkedIn. Now, in your experience section, my title at LHH is career consultant, but I'm also known as a career coach in the industry. And I want to make sure that if somebody is looking for a career coach, that they're going to find me just as easily as if they were looking for a career consultant. So I put a pipe in between the two titles, and I ensure that I've got an exact match on the titles that recruiters are going to be looking for to help them find me. Add in as many titles as you think is necessary to define what your next job needs to be. And if you are currently unemployed, then you're going to want to add a job and indicate all of the different titles that you're looking for as part of that job search. So your new title, your new job is looking for a new job. Put in the titles you're looking for. Now, the other thing to do is that if you had a title that was fairly broad, I was Senior Manager of Training and Development, but most of my time was spent in instructional design and e-learning development. So in parentheses after the title, I put in the titles of jobs that I would be most qualified for, even though they weren't in my title, it was where I spent my time. So putting in additional titles that are also known as titles, and putting in additional titles that indicate more precisely what you did with your time in that company are ways that you can expand your visibility to a recruiter. And in your skill and endorsement area, you should see that take a skill quiz, but you will only see it if you have a skill in your area that has a quiz associated with it. If you don't have any skills that have a quiz associated with it, then you're not going to see this at all. But you are going to want in your edit function to be able to change the top 3 skills that you have to indicate the strong skills that you need to convince somebody that you can do the next job. The green tack mark here, if you click on it, it turns white, drops it down with your other skills, find the skill that you like better, move it up to the top by clicking it, turning it green. Got a trash can next to each skill in case you don't need it anymore. And you've got the 4 parallel lines here, the cheeseburger, that you can click and drag and put things in alphabetical order that way. At the bottom, you can adjust your endorsement settings. You can click on that and make sure that all 3 of these are green, because you want people to be able to endorse you. Admittedly, it doesn't have the strong value that it used to have in the past because the skill quiz is taking over some of that, but you still want people to endorse you when they come onto your profile to indicate that you do have some of those strengths. Now let's add more information to the profile by taking a look at this add section. When you're in the add section, it allows you to put in additional information, such as licenses and certifications. You can put your license or certification after your name up in this headline area, up in the name area. If it's important for your next job, add it in there. But the more times you say that you have a skill or a certification, the more LinkedIn is going to weigh that positively when they're doing their forced rankings for a career search. So repeating information is good. Just because you say it in your about section doesn't mean that you shouldn't put it in the separate area for licenses and certifications. Volunteer experience has also become more important because companies are recognizing what a social need they have in order to get more people involved in social activities, community events. They want to see people who are already doing that. So if you have any volunteer experience, no matter how far back it is, add that into your LinkedIn profile right here. Now your accomplishments area, you can add more information here too. Do you have any publications? Good thing to be able to put in. Patents, courses. If you took any classes during the time that you were at your company, then you need to be able to add that in because it shows that you are somebody who is interested in learning new things, and you can organize your work activities so that you can take the half day, the full day off in order to learn more. So if you took classes on managerial effectiveness, difficult conversations, any of the other types of classes that could be offered in a company, put those in. You should also put in the courses that you took on an annual basis because your compliance or your legal team required it. And those would be the courses like IT security, privacy, anti-money laundering, things that were required for the type of role you had in the company. Add those into your courses section. It indicates that you know why you had to take those classes, and you know you're going to be taking them every year in whatever job you go to next. So add those in. Projects is an area that you can add additional information into. So let's take a look at projects. It allows you to put a name, when you did the project and what company you were with, and the title that you had when you were with that company. And then this description area gives you the opportunity to put in an immense amount of information about what you did and how you did it and what your results were. Go through the STAR format. What was the situation? What were your tasks? What were your activities? What were your obstacles? What were the results? You've got 2,000 characters here. This is the second largest area of LinkedIn. The only area that's bigger is the About section, which is 2,600 characters. So putting more information about what you did, how you did it, this is a great opportunity to put in more of those keywords, the skills, and be able to prove how you use those skills. So add more projects. This is nice to be able to put in information that would be the answer to an interview question. What were you most proud of accomplishing in your last job? Put it in here. And if you've got several, then that's good. One could be about your leadership. One could be about your problem solving. One could be about process improvements. One could be about the development of people in your organization. You've got a lot of different areas of expertise. Add projects to show each one of them. So where did those all go? They drop into an area down at the bottom here. It was just titled Accomplishments. So here are the 8 courses that I take every year because the company requires me to. So I'll put all of those in. They've got great keywords here. Organizations I belong in, projects I've done. It gives you the opportunity to put in the title. And then when somebody opens it up, it gives the full set of information on what I've done, how I've done it, and what the result was. So use this area to highlight things that you've done well. You can use your about section, you can use your experience section. Remember, the more times you say something on LinkedIn, the better it is, because LinkedIn is going to value that more. All right, so let's take a look. Any questions on this ad section and the types of things that we've got here?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay, honors and awards, languages, organizations. Causes is new. This just came up recently. If you click on causes, it allows you to put in the things that you care about. Not sure what LinkedIn is doing with this information right now. I put down veteran support just to see what was going to be coming my way, if there was something different on the homepage. I haven't seen anything yet, but you can put in multiple things here. LinkedIn put it in, so there's got to be some reason they put it in. We just haven't figured out why they've got it there. So let's talk about networking, because as you saw in the recruiter searches, recruiters are interested in making sure that you are interested in their company and that you are connected to people in their company. That's going to show up in your interest area at the very bottom here, where LinkedIn says these are the people that you're interested in who are considered influencers. They organize all the companies for you that you're interested in, any groups that you belong to, and the schools that you're interested in or have gone to. So let's find the companies and find the right ones that we need to be adding to. Somebody give me, either by shouting out or putting it in the search, a company that you're interested in joining.
You can unmute your mic by holding down the space bar, or just type in the chat window a company that you're interested in. Toyota.
Toyota. When you type something into the search bar, it's going to give you a couple different opportunities. Toyota North America is the one that we're interested in. It'll allow you to see if you are already following it. You can view jobs, skip all that, go directly to the LinkedIn page for Toyota North America. This is the LinkedIn page. It is not their company page that is out on the web. If you want to follow, there will be a green box here that says follow. Click on that. It'll show up in your interest area. What you're interested in are probably the jobs. So it's got some tabs down here. Let's go to jobs first, because this allows you to create a job alert for this company. And when you do that, you can put in a title. Let's say it's going to be a project manager. And what location? Maybe the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And then you create a job alert. What that does is that anytime Toyota posts a job onto LinkedIn, LinkedIn is going to take a look at that job and is going to contact the people whose LinkedIn profiles match that job and have created a job alert. So they're going to send back to the recruiter at Toyota, here are 11 people who match the criteria that you're looking for in the job that you just posted, and they said that they're interested in your company. What better set of information does a recruiter need? Here LinkedIn is telling them, you're interested in their company, you got the skills to be able to do this particular job. The recruiter's going to get on your profile pretty quickly. You can create up to 8 job alerts per company, but you can only create up to 20 job alerts for your profile. So if you've got job alerts that you've created in the job section or in other companies, spread them out a little bit. If this is a huge search for you, then you can put in more than one title up to 8. Seems like 8 would be a lot though. So if there's more than one title, you can create more than one job alert per company. And that does give you access to the recruiter really fast when they're looking for that type role. And most major companies are posting on LinkedIn as well as some of the other public job boards. Now let's also take a look at this People tab, because when you click on People, it tells you about the 13,945 employees at Toyota North America. Gives you 2 columns, one where they live and where they studied. United States, Dallas-Fort Worth area. Let's go ahead and just look at the ones that are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now we've got 3,166 people that we know are employees of the Toyota facility in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've got these previous and next. If you click on next, it gives you 2 new columns. What they do, which is what department, and what they study. If you're interested in an area like accounting, you can get down to 176 people, and their titles are going to be down at the bottom of this page. 176 still seems to be a bit much. Let's get out of the accounting department. But being able to take a look at what department people are in can help you settle on who you want to connect with. But let's check on next one more time. It tells you what skills they have on their skills endorsement area, but it also tells you how you're connected. During the course of your career, you're probably going to lose track of some of the folks that you've connected with, and they could end up at a company that you're interested in. So always check to see if you're already connected to people. And in this case, I can take a look at the 6 people that I'm connected with and find them down here and talk with them about a job that I found that they might know more about. Tell me who the hiring manager is. Do you know who the recruiter is? Are they looking for something beyond what is in the job description? But I've got 281 second-degree connections. If you don't have any first-degree connections, then you can start connecting with the second-degree connections. And your note to a second-degree connection is generally going to be, I see we have people in common in our networks on LinkedIn. I'm interested in Toyota as a company. I see you're working there now. How do you like it there? Let's connect. You've only got 300 characters, so you can't get too wordy on these things, but being able to say, we've already got something in common. We've got people in common. Don't try and name them. It's not worth the hassle or the research on that. But just being able to say, we've got people in common. I'm interested in you because I'm collecting people who are in this industry, who have similar job titles to me. Whatever you want to say about that, let's find some way of making somebody interested in talking to you. So let's go with people who are second-degree connections, who are also in the accounting department. Now we're only looking at 12 people that are worth connecting to under this search requirement. I'm interested in getting a job at Toyota in the accounting department. I'm trying to find people who are second-degree connections that are going to be more willing to connect with me. Never use the white connect button on this page because it sends an automated, I'd like to be part of your network request. You always want to go to the person's profile page and use the blue connect button because that allows you to personalize the message to them. 300 characters. Take a look and see what they do, what they've got in their profile, and then compose something that you think is going to be appropriate for them to be able to connect with you. Now, the other way to find people, and let's stay in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we've got the 3,166 employers. Let's say that we only want to look for people who have recruiter in their title. Now, LinkedIn is going to give you people who are currently titled as recruiters, plus everybody who has ever been a recruiter. So the people down here, you're going to have to sort through a little bit because they might not be recruiters anymore. You're going to sort through the people who are no longer recruiters, the people who might be a college recruiter that you might not need. Maybe you need a technical recruiter. Maybe you need some other type of recruiter that they have. Notice it brings up talent acquisition as well as recruiter. LinkedIn is going to search for that job family, not just for that one area. So find the people that are worth connecting to, connect with them, and the more people that you have in common, generally the better off you are, because it means that these people are more willing to connect with people. Now, for a recruiter, you can always say, I'm interested in career opportunities for, and then give your title. Toyota is a company I'm targeting because of its products and its culture. Let's connect. Or I am a blank, give them a title with skills and experience, bing, bing, bing. Looking for opportunities in Toyota, let's connect. Or if you've already applied for a job at Toyota, then I've applied for, and then give them the exact title of the role. I have skills in blank, 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 would love to connect and discuss the role with you. So whatever is going to get their attention, you're going to try and find something that is going to make them interested in you. So if we don't want to look at recruiters, maybe we just want to look and find who the hiring manager is going to be. And maybe it's going to be the vice president of accounting. Worth a try, right? We have 17 people who have some combination of vice president and accounting, or who had accounting at some point. And you may have to go through several of these people in order to find the right one. But being able to try and connect with someone by saying, I've applied for this role, be specific. It looks like it might be part of your team. Would love to talk about my skills in blank, blank, blank. Let's connect. Whatever you think the message needs to be in order to connect to people who could be decision makers, who could have jobs similar to you. Sometimes just asking, I'm interested in Toyota as a career. How do you like it there? Let's connect. It's going to be enough to be able to get you connected to people. And remember, the more people you're connected to at a company, the higher the LinkedIn recruiter search is going to bring you up to the top of that recruiter search list when they're doing a research for that type of role. Okay, and how that works? Let's do searches in another area then, and if somebody can give me the name of a school that they attended. Could be a college, could be a university. You can type the space bar and shout it out.
UT Austin.
UT Austin. All right, here we go. Now, once again, you're going to be just clicking on this to go to the LinkedIn page for that school. This is not the website that you would normally go to if you were researching the company. It's their LinkedIn page. You don't care about jobs, but you do care about alumni. So if you click on alumni, it'll tell you about the 408,387 people who attended UTA in the last 121 years and who have a LinkedIn profile. Now you're not going to care as much about where they live, but it does tell you in this column where they work. So if you wanted to find out all of the people who work at Toyota, we have a whole bunch of folks here who are currently employed at Toyota. Sometimes these are going to be people who worked at Toyota at a different time and have switched to a different job. You don't care about them quite as much since you've got so many people here that attended the same school you did and are working at a company you're interested in. click on that, and it'll tell you about the 81. You can use this next function to find out what department they're in. And let's say in this time you want to be in information technology. Now you've got 8 people here who went to the same school you did, and are at a company and in a department that you want to be in. Now you're going to take a look at these folks. Don't use the white connect button again. You're going to be going into their profile itself, but you're going to be saying, I see you also went to University of Texas at Austin, go Longhorns. I'm interested in Toyota as a career. I have experience as with a title, give a couple skills. Let's connect. So having something in common is a magnificent way to connect with people, because it gives them an understanding of who you are, why you're doing things, and you're going to be more likely to get those connections quickly and easily. Okay, questions?
I do have a question. What about, you talk about location. So let's say somebody lives in Little Elm. What should they put down? Little Elm or Dallas or DFW or what?
Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is always going to have higher search results. For some reason, a Metroplex comes up higher in the search, but in your open to area, you can put in the smaller city that you belong to, and recruiters will be able to see this. You'll come up faster under a Metroplex, but when a recruiter is looking at your profile, they can see that Little Elm is really where you want to be, and they'll take that into consideration.
Okay. Questions anybody else has? Going once, going twice. Well, Ruth, I want to thank you. I guess we've answered everybody's questions. So thank you very much. If you want to connect with Ruth, here is, well, this is her last month's profile. She changes her banner picture every month. So I didn't get this month's banner picture. This was a pretty one. The ones, yeah. So if you'd like to connect with Ruth, you can. Remember, find the blue connect button so you can send her a personal note. That would be really, really appreciated. Ruth, thank you very, very much.
My pleasure.
Next month, or next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. Please note this session next week will not be recorded. So if you want to watch it, you do have to watch it live at 1 o'clock. All right, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Please, please, please. Every day I have people who want to connect with me. I don't know why, because they didn't send me a personal note and I don't connect with them. So if you try to connect with me and you didn't send me a personal note, you need to withdraw the connection and then send a new one with a note. So please always send that personal note, because people will connect with people as long as they know why. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Tomorrow on Interviewing Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, we'll be on session number 12, how to handle difficult interviewers, difficult questions, and how to cultivate confidence during the interview. On Thursday, it's the third Thursday of the month, so we'll be talking about resumes, resume writing rules that will put you ahead of the competition. Carol Bukel, who's a certified professional career coach, will be with us. That'll be this coming Thursday at 1 o'clock. And then this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, how you can win over the holidays, how to master your mind for success. Halloween's coming up. You may be invited to a Halloween party in a week and a half. Thanksgiving, Christmas, these are great times to network. How do you do it? What should you be doing? Don't stop looking for a job just because the holidays are coming up. If you'd like to join the Career DFW and Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to do so. We have over 13,000 members in the Career DFW group. You do not have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the group. Both groups are wide open for whoever would like to join them. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. on the Career USA YouTube channel is the easiest way to go back and look at these videos. Click on playlist where you see that green arrow, and then down the very bottom, find the topic that you want: resumes, interviewing, LinkedIn, and then don't click on the video, but click where it says view full playlist, and then up will come a list of all the different titles and topics and dates that we've presented these items. You can always go back and watch whichever one you want as often as you'd like. And then if the newest one's not on top, click on the little sort button. It will take about 2 hours for YouTube to get this video processed and put up on the YouTube channel. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, you're welcome to join a Career USA mailing list. You won't be spammed. I control the list. You only will find the title of the day, the topic of the day, and the Zoom link of the day. That way, you'll be able to quickly join our production every day. Please remember, Career FW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteer. Ruth is a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I've never gotten paid to do any of this over the last 13, 14 years. I just do this to help you land your next great opportunity. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. So thank you for joining us today. Ruth, thank you very, very much. And we'll see everybody hopefully later in the week.
Thank you very much.